Cassie, thank you so much for the invitation to join you for this series. I know our staff has attended several of them and found the topics to be fantastic. So we're glad to be one of the topics this time. Dr. Stephanie Oppel, I serve as the Executive Director of Icon Water Trails and have been in this role just about a year now. All things Icon and super excited about it. I'll turn it over to Monica to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Monica Converse, project manager with Icon Water Trails, and I've been here about a year and a half. So relatively new, a lot of exciting things happening with Icon. Thrilled to be here. So my main focus is on the downtown Des Moines projects, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit. All right, Cole.
Thanks, Monica. Yeah, my name is Cole Miller. I am the regional coordinator for Icon Water Trails. We'll touch on it a little bit in a little bit here, but I help service the 12 jurisdictions that we have in our network.
Fantastic. Cole's going to be running our slides today, so he'll do that for us, but I will go ahead and kick us off. Cole, if you want to advance that, that would be great. You saw there's our pictures. Don't we look great? You can keep going then. Okay, so to kick us off, I know a lot of you have heard about Icon, but I want to make sure that I'm kind of setting the stage in terms of what we are really focused on and what we are trying to deliver for the community as kind of that level setting for this conversation today. So we are really focused on this goal of connecting water communities and people. How can we be the catalyst to expand or enhance that connection to the water trails? And what we want to achieve through all of this is improved safety. So Cole has a team that he works on with that, improving safety on the water, also helping communities with their on-water maintenance, those sorts of pieces. So improved safety, getting those dams out of there, modified or removed as well. Icon is really an economic development initiative, and I'll touch a little bit on that here in just a minute. Incredibly important for our community in terms of the economic opportunity associated with outdoor recreation. Along with that economic development piece is a tourism and workforce attraction. We don't have the mountains, we don't have the ocean, but we have incredible resources here in the state. So we really want to be able to enhance that to attract folks to come visit and then hopefully decide they want to come stay and spend lots of time in Des Moines, find this as a great place to live, work, and play. And of course, with all of the projects that we are doing, environmental conservation is a key aspect of that. So this is a water quality initiative as much as it is anything else. So those are kind of our pillars and tenets that drive everything that we do. All right. So one of the things you may have seen some news around from us or seen in our newsletter. If you subscribe, if you don't, please visit our website. We'd love to have you subscribe and get updates all the time. Not all the time. Monthly updates on Icon Water Trails. We don't spam you, but we'll give you great information right to your inbox. We had a regional economic impact study conducted. We got the results from those findings this fall. And so we have been sharing some of the great information we learned. This study was conducted looking at the recreation season, April to October in 2022. So we wanted to better understand what the economic impact looked like for the 15 active Icon sites over a single recreation season. And we knew that there was a lot of usership. We knew that there was great impact in the community. I don't think we were prepared to see the true impact that the data revealed in this area. So I'll have Cole advance the slide and I'll start to tell you a little bit about that. Again, we looked at this in 2022. They used cell phone data, pings to be able to identify a sample. There were 1.5 million relevant cell phone pings. So these were cell phone pings either from within the river, so we knew people were on the water recreating, or right at the water's edge. So really specific to those recreational lands that are in Icon's jurisdiction and active access points. There was some additional information that was included from visitation data from West Des Moines Army Corps and DNR. They have that available, so they were able to integrate that into our information. And I already talked about that 6-month time frame. So all of this was really important to understanding kind of the context that we were framing this data in and learning the findings from. What we learned is that you can see that number. There were over 250,000 visits to these 15 active sites in that 6-month period. That is way more than I anticipated. I'm so glad to see those numbers, especially knowing that not all of these active sites have even had all of their full up. I'm losing my words, but we haven't fully refurbished or added on to all of the sites in the ways that we are going to over the course of the next few years. So these 250,000 folks made up a lot of these. So about 70% came from the local area, but more than 30% traveled more than 10 miles to access one of these sites. So we know that people in recreation typically will go to sites that are nearby them. It takes a little bit more to plan to do an outdoor activity if it's not right down the street. So we're really excited to see that there are a lot of people that have moved out down the road to come join us at these sites. And those people are also spending money in the community. So those local folks spent about $25 associated with their visit, and those non-local folks spent around $87 associated with their visit. That's a significant economic impact. Cole, you can keep advancing the slides. All of that resulted in a $20 million economic output, supporting jobs and wages. If you want to keep moving, Cole. And then also seeing, a health savings benefit. So this is one of those great numbers that the economic modeling was able to tell us, is that through these visits and this time spent recreating in nature, you see physical, cognitive, and emotional benefits resulting in a $16 million health savings. So that's money that was not spent on sick care or health care because folks were out in the community. So we know that is an incredible benefit. If you want to keep moving, Cole, to the next slide. This is just kind of that summary for the economic significance. At the end of the day, we know that recreation provides a significant economic impact. We have anecdotal stories of what it's meant for small business development, all sorts of improvements and increased opportunities, but we're seeing the data behind it and we're really excited about that. So with that, I'm going to continue on and turn it over to Cole, and he'll tell us more about those 15 active sites and how that number is increasing because we have some cool projects going on throughout the region.
Yeah, thank you, Stephanie. As I and Stephanie mentioned, our 12 jurisdictions within ICON have 15 active sites over 7 water trails currently. So those 15 active sites are represented by the white dots with the red outlines you can see. We offer our jurisdictions a number of programs, opportunities, and promotions, all to do with these sites. So I'll touch on a few of them soon, but I do like to touch on just like what we have to offer, I guess, our jurisdiction. There seems like, at least I like to think, there's a little something for everybody. I usually like to point out the smaller access points, or the ones maybe that aren't as well known through Central Iowa. So like Bondurant, for example, you can see the white dot with the red outline represented there. That's on Mud Creek that goes through Bondurant, Eagle Park specifically. They just finished up, I believe it was last summer. We had a ribbon cutting for them for their Icon access point. But it's just on Mud Creek, which is a smaller water trail. They installed some limestone steps, some soft trails, some respite seating, things like that, just because they know their citizens want to interact with the water. So they're able to do that right in Bondurant now. On the flip side of that, we have sites like the portage access off the Raccoon River in West Des Moines that leads you to Blue Heron Lake and Raccoon River Park. A lot of people are probably familiar with Raccoon River Park and all the great amenities they offer. So this is one of your more popular access points. Just circling back to, we have a little bit of something for everybody, no matter the skill set, no matter the demographic, no matter the location. We're spread out all through Polk County here and hope, we hope to keep expanding. So I'd like to touch on just a few of our upcoming access points that are going to come online pretty soon. Um, I'd like to start with West Des Moines here. This is an access point that they are in the middle of construction on. It's about 100 yards up from the 63rd Street Bridge in West Des Moines on the north side of the river, if you're familiar with the area. This access point is going to serve a lot of different purposes, but one of the main purposes is that it'll be a crucial emergency access site for the Raccoon River. So it just makes the Raccoon River a safer paddle, knowing that there's more established access points that the emergency management team can get in. So beyond that, parking, paved trails, boat ramps, kayak launch, respite area, much more. It's just going to be a great area and a great addition to the Icon network and West Des Moines. Users can take out here after a trip from Walnut Woods or put in here to head downstream to Waterworks Park or anything like that. So we're incredibly excited about this access point. If I remember right, construction should be done later this year with the actual access point and then into next year with all the amenities there. So definitely be on the lookout for that one as we activate the Raccoon River more and more. Our next one that's kind of in progress is the Merle Hay Gateway access point in Johnston. This is still somewhat in the design phase, but construction should be starting very, very soon on this. This will be Johnston's marquee access point. They have 2 active Icon access points currently, but this will be kind of their main hub for their water trail. This will be the last official takeout on the way to the confluence with the Des Moines River. But this site, like I said, it'll have a ton of amenities, parking, a new golf facility right off of it that we'll share a parking lot with, signage, kayak lockers. You can kind of see the kayak ramp here and the limestone steps, everything like that. So great site. It is the most recent recipient of our joint grant with the Mid-American Energy Company. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of information on that. I mentioned earlier that Icon provides a lot of opportunities for our jurisdiction, so this would be one of them. This is a grant opportunity that is an effort between the Mid-American Energy Company and the Great Outdoors Foundation, and it's focused on supporting recreation opportunities along our water trails. So our jurisdictions can apply for this grant if they'd like to either improve a current identified access point or the creation of a new identified access point. The grant, we run it in 2 cycles per year. Jurisdictions can apply for up to $125,000 each time. It's been in existence since the spring of 2022. So we've been able to help 5 different jurisdictions bring their access points online. So it's really a great opportunity for our network to have access to this money to help bring these points online. I did mean to mention too, the West Des Moines access point was also the recipient of one of the Mid-American Energy grant cycles too. So they were the fall of 2023, I believe. But back to the site in Johnston, it's just gonna be a great spot to take a break if you started your journey up Beaver Creek a ways, and you plan on continuing down to hit the Des Moines and take out a Prospect or Birdland or anything like that. So just a great opportunity for folks who like to recreate on Beaver Creek. The last one I'd like to touch on is the access point in Urbandale. It's located on Walnut Creek. In Walker Johnston Park, if you're familiar with the area. So this is one of my favorite access points. It's going to serve a pretty big purpose in the area. If you're familiar with Walker Johnston Park, tons of amenities, skate park, ball diamonds. There's a school right across the way. Obviously the park, the green spaces, soccer area, things like that. So this will kind of be smack dab in the middle, but its main purpose will be an outdoor classroom area. So as you can kind of see in the rendering picture, some respite seating, There's going to be some educational signage, things like that. And then across Walnut Creek, there'll be some steps down into the water too. So just another great access point to add to the Icon network. This site was also a recipient of the Mid-American Energy Grant, but it was also the recipient of a joint grant that we offer with Bravo. So Bravo is the Des Moines Art Foundation. They offered us a chance to help us put public art at our icon access points. So we run a grant, yearly grant, one cycle a year. It is a 50% match, but these public art projects have to be at icon access points. Like I said, this Urbandale site was the recipient of it, so it doesn't show anything in the rendering, but along the path leading to the outdoor classroom area will be, I believe it's some mushroom sculptures that are lighted and things like that, just to kind of show what goes on right in this area. It all kind of ties together with those public art projects. So another great addition to the Icon network. The last thing I'd like to touch on is another program that we offer our regional partners. We refer to it as the On-Water Maintenance and Safety Program. So we set aside money in our budget every year to assist with removal or cleanup or unblocking of debris in our water trails in our network. So you can kind of see the picture I have on the screen here. This was in Windsor Heights, near Colby Park. Huge blockage. People don't think Walnut Creek is incredibly accessible or incredibly navigable, but clearing things like this and just taking out chunks at a time will help, one day hopefully turn it into a fairly navigable water trail when the water is at the right levels. So far this year, we've been able to assist 4 jurisdictions on 3 different water trails. We usually just enlist the help of the Conservation Corps of Minnesota. They're down in central Iowa right now, so they have a team of water trails experts that get trained with chainsaw work and all the proper PPE, and then they send them out on the water trails. So you can kind of see in this picture here, in the previous picture, if the water's low enough, they get right in and use all the proper techniques and precautions to clear these blockages. If the water is higher and they can't stand in there, they use boating techniques to do the clearing too. So just this calendar year, we've been able to assist with over 5.5 miles of clearing, just to make these water trails that much more accessible for our network. So with that, that's the last slide I have. Monica, if you'd like to touch on the downtown projects now, go for it.
Sure. Thanks, Cole. So it's important to think about the fact that all these regional sites are going to eventually feed into downtown Des Moines. That's the hope here, but ultimately we're striving to connect over 150 miles of waterways in central Iowa, maybe more someday. So downtown projects are pretty extensive to implement, but we're excited that we're well underway with several of our projects. So I'll touch on that now. The first project that's been under construction since last year is our Scott Avenue site. So this is down near the confluence of the Des Moines and Raccoon Rivers, near Mullet's or the new Single Speed Brewery, if you're familiar with the area. So they started construction on this last spring. Features here are going to be mitigating the dam, so making the dam safer for passageway, doing things to remove that recirculating current that makes dams so dangerous. So we're doing modifications to that. We can't unfortunately remove the dam because it's kind of integral to the actual bridge structure itself, but there's things we can do to make it safe for recreators. We're also going to have some whitewater drops here on the south side of the river, which is going to be the really fun, exciting feature. There's actually this mechanical unit called a wave shaper that's going to get installed that can be adjustable based on what the river flows are doing and create a consistent wave for whitewater users and even surfing. So it's hard to imagine that someday here soon we'll be able to surf in downtown Des Moines, but we plan on it. So that is going to be a really, really cool feature that kind of puts us on the map for sure. We're also going to have fish habitat channel in the middle of the river here. So, dams cause issue with habitat, not really being able to successfully mitigate up and downstream. So we're going to be taking care of that and hopefully ultimately create healthier fish habitat here. This is the #1 fishing destination in the state. So we want to make sure that we can continue to enhance and offer opportunities for anglers at this site. And then the north half of the river is what you can currently see is under construction now if you go down there. So that's what we call our cascading rock feature. So it's essentially making up the elevation difference from the dam side to the downstream side. And making all of these other whitewater features work. So right now, if you go down there, I guess I'll say too, this project right now is we're estimating about $45 million, 40 of that for the in-water and about 5 million for the uplands piece. So uplands piece, we are letting this fall. So construction on that will be underway next year. And when I say uplands, I mean basically all the shoreline improvements. So you can see we're planning some extensive pedestrian walkways, retaining walls, viewing areas, angler access, shoreline stabilization, kayak launches, all that fun stuff. So that will be another piece that starts construction here very soon. So yeah, go to the next slide. You can see a picture of kind of if you were to go out there now, this is probably a day or two old now at this point, but this is that cascading rock feature that I mentioned. So it's, river work is a little challenging. So we were at this stage in early May. And then as you all know, we've gotten a lot of rain this year. So river levels did come up and halted work for about 3 months. But just as of last week, they've been able to get back in there, pump out the area so that the workers can safely get in there and continue work. So we're still pushing forward as best as we can to make up for lost time. But that's just kind of the nature of unfortunately working with rivers is there's only so much you can do to control that. So, but this is where they're at right now. Super exciting. Encourage all of you to go down there and check it out if you're in the area. Another project that we're working on extensively is design of our Floor Drive project site, we call it. So this is just north of Gray's Lake. So it's downstream from the Des Moines Waterworks Dam on the Raccoon River, if you're familiar with that. So this project is essentially going to mitigate that Waterworks Dam. So at this site, we're going to have another wave feature. It's not going to be quite as intense or crazy as the one at Scott. This is going to be maybe one that everyone could give a try, but it'll still be something fun to experience here. We're also going to have some collapsible flashboards that essentially make all the hydraulics work and to drown out the dam upstream. And then we're going to have a very extensive habitat and rec channel. So the habitat channel will also provide that rec passage for, we hope to see kayakers, and we think this will be a very popular tubing destination once it's all done too. So you can see some pictures on the left of what these different features might look like. We're estimating this to be about $27 million. The upland side of it, we're going to have some driveway and sidewalk access, parking stalls, boat turnaround, not only for kayak users, but again, like Cole mentioned with one of the regional projects, emergency access is something we're always taking into consideration here as well. Just viewing areas, angler access, all that fun stuff too. So this is also, I should mention, just upstream from the Coleman pedestrian bridge, if you're familiar with that. So it'll be really cool to be able to kind of watch people playing in the river from that bridge. So timeline, I guess I should have mentioned on Scott, that one should be open for the 2026 recreation season. Construction on this one should be well underway by the end, should be completed for the in-water pieces by the end of 2026. The uplands might trickle into 2027, but the hope for Fluor is that that would be open by at least part of the rec season of 2027. We also have several other projects in the works. I guess maybe if you flip to the next slide, Cole, there's a map there that kind of helps tell the story. So I mentioned the Scott Avenue project. Just downstream from that is our Harriet Street site. So that is also under construction currently, should be done here later this fall. That one got delayed just a little bit because of the rising river levels as well. But that one's mostly, it's going to be the final takeout point for all of our downtown projects. So that's an important one. It's providing kayak launches and exits, boat ramp, parking lot, so people can park their cars there, and also pedestrian trail access, fishing access, all that fun stuff. So no whitewater features at the Harriet Street site, but that one's well underway. We also are planning enhancements at Birdland and Prospect. So these are two sites that you can currently access, but we're planning on doing a lot of improvements to those sites that will eventually feed to the rest of the downtown network. So again, shoreline stabilization, better boat launches, pedestrian access, wayfinding, all that good stuff. So, and then well in the future, we're, the Center Street Dam, which is kind of the keystone project that we definitely are planning to address. It's just going to be a big undertaking in itself. So we're actively seeking out potential funding opportunities to get that one kickstarted, but that one would be located near the Women of Achievement pedestrian bridge and mitigate the Center Street Dam that you're probably all familiar with. So that's another project that we got our sights on. But we're trying to get some of these other ones bitten off first, and then we'll actively be working on the Center Street project. So, Stephanie, do you want me to kick it back to you to talk about kind of the hope for once this is all done, what we're hoping to see?
Sure. Yeah. So, we're just really excited to be able to see this system continue to activate. When we look at the downtown sites, we know that we are going to see a significant amount of usership across these, right? And so we're looking at, you can see, Liz, we're sharing here $2 million estimated revenue by year 3, right? That's significant. And when we look at what that means, that is funding that will go back into the network. So that is super, super important. And we know that when we talked about, like, I did some of that kind of baseline sharing with you what we are all about here at Icon. Economic development, tourism, workforce attraction, and retention are huge pieces of what we are working towards. We expect to see 103,000 people is the projection for the number of folks that will be coming to Des Moines to utilize the Icon Water Trails network. So that's pretty significant. I would say that I think that's probably even low, knowing the number of folks that came from outside our community just to visit what we have right now. I think we're going to see even more than that, but that's a pretty good number of folks coming to town to check out the Icon features. And with those numbers, that makes us the second most visited whitewater attraction in the nation. So we are projected to be just behind Bend, Oregon. Maybe one day we'll overtake them, but just behind Bend as the second most visited whitewater attraction. So as we're coming to learn more and more about the whitewater community, right? You have the snow melt in the mountains, like in Colorado in the spring. The water levels will go up there, really great whitewater paddling. And then as that kind of starts to move into summer, you see that community, a lot of them will head out towards the East Coast for opportunities. Some of our Iowa sites have been great stopping points if people are traveling, with their kayaks going out east. We're going to be a great place for people who are passing through, but I also know that we are going to become a destination for people to visit. There is no other region in the country that is taking on as extensive of a project. There have been some incredible whitewater projects that are sprouting up around the country, but none are as regionally inclusive and regionally activated so that you have all sorts of opportunities. Also, the connection that we have with the great amenities that are already here, right? Our trail system and the biking opportunities. So, there's opportunities for people to combine those passions as well. So we're really, really excited to see all of those people come in, and we'll be excited to see the money that they spend here. And hopefully they love us enough that they want to stay, because we know we could use some folks coming into the state as well. So I know we touched on a bunch of different things. Cassie, I don't know if any questions came in or not, or if you, Cassie, have any questions that you thought of as you were going through this. But again, we're just striving to activate over 150 miles of water trails, enhance what we already have as this incredible natural resource. We could not do it without all the communities that are part of this, all the businesses and stakeholders that are part of every project we are doing. There's a QR code here that you can get your phone out and scan, take you to our website and more information. You can also reach out to Monica, Cole, or me anytime. We're happy to answer any questions or share more about Icon.
Great. Thank you all so much. if anyone has questions, please feel free to type them in the chat and I will go ahead and ask our presenters your questions and get them answered. I don't have any right now, but in the meantime, I did have one. You were talking about how the rising river levels, changed some of the construction timeline. I was also curious about that humongous log jam that was down there for a while. Did that have any sort of effect on your progress?
We're really fortunate that it did not have any effect on our progress. It was something that, we meet every week, every other week with the city of Des Moines, and it was a standing item on that agenda because everybody wanted to make sure that we were looking at that and taking care of it. So City of Des Moines did an incredible job of addressing that and getting those logs out of there. It was quite a sight. That video, the time-lapse video that they put together was really cool to see the massive accumulation and then see how they manage that. So did not impact our project, but that is one of the things that we'll continue to work on with our operations and maintenance committee, and then also in consultation with our design team, and then other folks around the country, right? How they are dealing with these types of issues, because we know that we're dealing with the rivers, we're dealing with freeze and thaw, we're dealing with drought and heavy rains. It's going to change, right? And so our designs are intentional in terms of how we are able to use the rivers and creeks in different flows, but we also want to make sure that we're thinking about those opportunities so that we make sure that those investments that are in the water are protected. So great relationships and partnerships there. That's probably more than you asked for, Cassie, but it was pretty amazing to see what came through there.
Thank you. In the meantime, we were able to get a question in the chat. Do you know which creeks/sites are visited the most out of the
That's a
ones that
great
you're working on?
question. Yeah. So in the regional economic impact study, and I don't have it pulled up, Riley, but in the economic impact study, we have linked on our website, and we can share that with you, Cassie, too, if anybody reaches out with a question. It's linked. It's on our website. It shows the visitorship by site, so you can see how many people were at each. Captain Roy's is a significant one. There are a lot of people that take out there, right? And that's a really utilized boat ramp as well. So that was a significant one. I don't know, Cole, if you remember off the top of your head, some of those others that were kind of high on the list.
Sure. The other one that stands out, I haven't looked at the data for a while yet either, but the only other one that stands out would be the portage off the Raccoon to Raccoon River Park. Obviously, that's an incredibly popular spot, so a lot of action there too.
Great. Keep questions coming if you have them. In the meantime, though, while I have all three of you here, I thought I'd ask each of you if you individually want to mention which one you're the most looking forward to.
Cole, you want to go ahead? I know you've got some favorites.
Yeah, obviously all the downtown sites are going to be great. You're probably not going to catch me surfing at Scott or anything, but I am really looking forward to that being open just to see all the action that goes on there. Obviously, also, of course, Center Street, in the future when that opens up, that's going to be something that will be very, very incredible to see. Regionally, the West Des Moines one that's in construction right now will be a really great site because of the proximity of Blue Heron Lake, and then also there's a smaller pond right north of the access point that I think sometime in the near future West Des Moines is looking to utilize. So I think that area is probably going to be really great for all types of recreators because of the trails that go through there, options that are getting talked about for future amenities. Everything will probably be really great right through there.
Yeah, I guess just as a whole, I'm just excited to see us activating our waterways more. I mean, I feel like there are people that use it, but I grew up in rural Northeast Iowa and frequently tubed and canoed. This was back in the day before kayaking even really blew up in Iowa, but the Turkey River up there. And it was just, I saw like the impact it had to the communities up that way. And so I'm just excited that we're doing something and promoting and activating and trying to find safe ways for people to engage with these natural resources that we have in our region. So
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to think about my favorite. I would say two things. One, my favorite is whichever one I'm working on at the moment because I think they're all amazing, and so I get really excited about whichever one I'm like focused on in the moment. Um, I'll tell you, we have kind of our first piece of infrastructure in, so it's a parking lot and wetland over at Harriet. And Monica and I were down there the other day to meet with our construction and team, and we drove through that parking lot. I have never been so excited to drive through a parking lot in my life. So far, that's my favorite because it's done in terms of the things that we are advancing. But, what I'm really excited about too is all of this infrastructure we're doing for outdoor recreation. You don't have to be a paddler to enjoy the things that we are putting together for Icon. One of my favorite aspects, because I personally just am a huge art enthusiast, is all the public art that we are working on putting it throughout the system. So in partnership with Bravo, we'll have some really significant pieces that are realized because of Icon. And I think that is just really incredible and adds a whole new dimension to the work. And we'll bring lots of other people out and find different ways to engage with the water.
Yeah, that's exciting news. Let's see, we do have another question. How are you going to address community member concerns about being in the water due to quality concerns?
Yeah. So water quality is something that we are focused on. We're very fortunate to have a very close relationship with the Great Outdoors Foundation. Great Outdoors Foundation is doing a ton of work with Polk County and counties throughout the state in focusing on water quality. So one, we're doing a ton. Every project also has water quality conservation best practices built into them. So we're doing a lot with our partners to continue to work on that. We're also working with and supporting experts like Polk County Conservation in what they're doing for water quality testing. So we provided some support for some testing that was done around E. coli in the water. And we were really glad to see that in basically all of the during the time frame that was looked at, and I don't have this right in front of me, I should, but time frame that was looked at for the sampling, I think this was 2 summers ago as well, that all of the E. coli levels were within EPA limits for safe recreating. So one of the things except for there was, if you had toddlers swimming in Beaver Creek, very small children swimming, like full head immersion, that was a little bit above that EPA recommended level. And so that's one of the things we're really working on, but also being able to communicate that, working through our expert partners, so the DNR, Polk County Conservation, and other folks to be able to talk about that. If people have concerns or questions about that, we welcome questions anytime, so that info at Icon Water Trails, folks can reach out to us. We can either answer questions or refer those to our expert partners. But yeah, so if there's ever community or citizen concerns about things, please reach out to us. Hopefully that gave you a decent answer.
one thing I would add to that is just to like the hope is that recreation can be used as a catalyst for water quality improvements. So I think the more we can just engage people with our waters, because we've been so disconnected from them for so long, the more hopefully we can make improvements with water quality.
Great. Well, once again, thank you all for being my speakers for the month of August, and thanks to everyone that tuned in today. If you are interested in seeing the recording for this, it will be on the Rain Campaign YouTube, or you can email me directly to get the link for that. And if you're not currently on the mailing list for Central Iowa Watershed Management Authority's Lunch and Learns and other Watershed Management Authority business, feel free to reach out to me and I can add you to that list. So thanks again, everyone. I hope to see you in September. Also, going forward, I'm going to try to do these on Mondays instead of Tuesdays so I don't conflict with any other webinars that are going on. So thanks again. Bye.